Now that you have learned how to set up recovery scenarios, you will see how to reset the test environment if something goes wrong in the execution by creating a CleanUp scenario. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to create and use CleanUp scenarios. This lesson will help you meet this learning objective by answering 4 basic questions. Why are CleanUp scenarios useful? What are CleanUp scenarios? Where you can apply these scenarios in Tosca? And how can you set up a CleanUp scenario? CleanUp scenarios are very useful when a recovery scenario is unrecoverable. If the recovery scenario fails, you want Tosca to reset and restart the SUT and put it into the correct status for next test case. So what is it exactly? A CleanUp scenario is like a recovery scenario, but instead of attempting to fix and rerun the test case, the CleanUp scenario attempts to reset the test case. In the event that the test case is not recoverable, Tosca can be instructed to clean up the space for further test cases by the use of a CleanUp scenario. After Tosca has executed all available recovery scenarios and the test case still fails, it will clean up the testing environment so it is ready for the next test to run. CleanUp scenarios can be added into recovery scenarios collections and will affect any test case that the collection applies to. If recovery does not work, we want Tosca to try to reset and restart the SUT, then move on to the next test case. Let's see how this works, in our case with Demo Web Shop. Since we know our test case begins by opening the browser and logging in, we want to tell Tosca to log out and to reset using a CleanUp scenario that closes the browser. To do so, first you will need to create a CleanUp scenario by right-clicking on a recovery scenario collection or pressing the shortcut Ctrl-N, Ctrl-C. Similarly to what we have learned in previous lessons, you will be instructing Tosca to empty the shopping cart and close the browser. For this, you can use the while statement you created previously in conjunction with the module close browser. Keep in mind that loops like while do not have to go inside CleanUp or recovery scenarios and should only be used when absolutely necessary. Actually, recovery scenarios can often be used instead of loops. A recovery scenario will attempt to recover the test case the number of times we instruct Tosca to do it. If it is unsuccessful, the CleanUp scenario will kick in, making Tosca reset your system under test so the next test case can run. Remember, recovery and CleanUp scenarios will only be triggered when the test case is run from an execution list. Great! This is the end of the lesson for CleanUp scenarios. You are now able to create and use CleanUp scenarios. Practice what you have just learned with this exercise.